Hey guys, Jin Graves here doing a video for you guys. This is one of my double day videos, my first one. So besides the 30 people that I'm doing for the community challenge thing, this is also a thing that I'm doing for the community challenge because I feel like there's more people that can be represented than the 30. And so even though the 30 get their own video, these guys get their stuff, but they get it all together. So there are 30 on each. There should be 31 on each. I accidentally left out 2 people. So there will be a third video. It won't be as long because it's only 2 people. But yeah, so, and I don't know some of these people as well as I should. So I'm going to give them a shout out, but people that I do know, I'm going to tell you basically like either a lesson I learned from them or something that they reminded me or whatever. So let's get down to it, and this is in no particular order. Whenever I do it on here for you guys to see it on the thing to go view the channels, you'll be able to see it on there. In alphabetical order, so hopefully that will help out too. If there's a person you haven't subscribed to, you know, you can go down to their spot, their name, and go underneath that and find them. You know, but this list right now has no particular order to it, just because I wanted it to kind of be random. So anyway, so the first one on this list for the first part, the first half I guess, is That Man and His Merch. Totally underrated. I will just say that A Man and His Merch is phenomenal. There are a lot of different manga that he reads that are ones that I like, that a lot of other people actually don't read, which is a little upsetting because there are some good like isekais and ecchis and everything else, and I mean just a lot of stuff. I mean it's really good, but I mean everything, Nindroids, statues. I mean A Man and His Merch I think is one of those channels where you get everything that you could have absolutely dreamed of. You know, and one of the first ones I saw his, I was just like, why have I not met this guy yet? You know, there's so much stuff. It's cool. You know, and I just think it's awesome. I mean, it's totally awesome. You know, you'll have to go watch his channel, see it. But I mean, it's great. I'm just saying that. So number 2 is CJ versus Manga. CJ, I feel like has taught me kind of that lesson, or like reassured me of it, because I kind of already did that. But I would read a book basically in 2 different ways. I would read it from my standpoint, what I thought about it, and I would read it from the author, publisher, all that kind of standpoint of while they were writing it and what it meant to them and whatnot. But I never really thought about going outside of that and doing it for other people. So I decided to kind of look at it a third way for those other people, because you know, you never know a particular way to explain something to somebody, because I mean you could like it, you know, or you could not, and I feel like there's a certain, it's a word that I like to use, je ne sais quoi. You know, there's a particular je ne sais quoi that comes off to people, you know, whenever you're talking about it. So I feel like it should be a total neutral form of that way you're not worried about anything else. So then we have MangaKat, cat with the K. Don't really know a lot about them, but I am subscribed to them. You know, they don't have very many videos out. A lot of people I really don't know too much about don't have that many videos. You know, or if it's somebody that doesn't have a lot of videos, they might have at one point, and I've seen them before. So, but yeah, MangaKat. So shout out to MangaKat. Then we have Alicat Gtz, or I think this is supposed to be like Gtz, something like that. Alicat though. Alicat's awesome. I'll just tell you that. I found her channel from Otaku Mike, and you know, she does gaming and all the other stuff, which, I mean, guys, I love the community, and I think the extra parts are what actually keep people on certain people's, like, list, radars, whatever. All the extra stuff that people do is what I enjoy, and that's kind of what I base my channel off of, is showing you a little piece of my life, because then it helps you be able to show me a little piece of yours, or us talk about it, or whatever, you know. That's kind of what it is. If you, quote unquote, reveal a vulnerability, which is anything that just doesn't make you a manga tuber, makes you human, then you know, it helps in the long run. You know, that's why people know, like, my first name and what my tattoos mean and all this other stuff. So anyway, then another person, I only have it down as Bletifulvmin, Bletifulvmin. They I know they have a Bletifulvmin, or whatever, Vlimin, in their thing. They're a new person too, so not a lot that I can say about them. But all these extra people, I mean, are really great. You know, I just started watching them not that long ago, and they have great content too. So then next up, number 6, Bace Jeleren on this list. Bace Jeleren, basically, if you hear her talk about manga that she likes that is ecchi or whatever, she always calls it trash. And but I feel like she's reassured a lot of us in the community, including myself, on you like what you like, and you can't let anybody else tell you no, you know. Which I do feel like the community does sway people a certain way. When enough of us talk about a certain manga, I think it sways people a certain way, or a bigger person in the community sways them a certain way. But Bace Jeleren, I feel like, is totally a person that she does like some of that stuff too. But I mean, she's right there with some of us getting Monster Girl stuff and all that, you know, so I feel like it's being more true to yourself that way. Next up, Pages and Panels, Natalie. Natalie's awesome. So check her out. I haven't gotten to really watch like a whole lot. You know, I was watching at one point, and then it kind of died down because, like, I think she hit a bunch of her videos. So I kind of lost like a disconnect to it. So next up though is Whimsical Pictures. Whimsical Pictures is amazing. If you don't follow her, hop over, follow her, just like all the rest of these people. You know, Whimsical, I feel like, has really been another person that's been kind of a big impression in my life. Not per se because of YouTube, but I mean, you know, we've talked about like the classroom, and we'll talk about like current things that are current affairs going on in the community and different stuff like that. And you know, she'll have one standpoint, kind of, sort of, and then I'll have another one. We'll have somewhere where we meet in the middle, but we both understand each other's side really well. So I always really like kind of getting what she thinks about a lot of stuff, because I feel like, you know, she's the person that is over in Japan that can basically you know, see all that other stuff that is printed or whatever before us and know about it. So then number 9, guys, is one of the original OG people that is in my gang, and that is Bizarre Individual. Great individual. He is totally amazing. Same thing with some of these other people. Doesn't have the subs to actually support what kind of work he's done, you know, different stuff like that. And he's been in the community longer than me. But Bizarre was, besides Dani and Amascio J, Bizarre was basically the main third person that was in my life on YouTube, and actually, you know, came to see me and everything else, which was totally, you know, I'd never seen anybody do anything but a live stream or a podcast together. I've never seen anybody meet up unless it was like, oh, hey, I'm going to a con. And he took the time out of his busy schedule to come and see me, and we gave gifts to each other and all this other stuff. I mean, the videos are farther back in my list, and he's got ones on his too if you watch. And I mean, I feel like that's really what kicked off one of my better friendships in the community. You know, if you know, I include everybody kind of like in my quote-unquote harem, which is everybody, because you know, I feel like all of us are kind of in that. We have a love for manga, so everybody's kind of in that. But then I have people in my gang, which is a lot closer to me, and there's not as many people in that. So then next one up is Flip Otaku, also another person in my gang. You know, great person. Flip Otaku has kind of taught me more so through part of the mistakes, I guess, that he's made, which I feel like it was a really good thing for him to do. You know, he read that one book about if it doesn't bring you happiness, like, get rid of whatever. And, you know, there was stuff that Flip was selling, and then he was buying it back because he was like, well, I wanted it, meant something to me, and I sold it because of that book. You know, at the time, he didn't think that. And it really made me kind of sit back and think about every little thing in my collection. Like, every book has a story. There's almost a timeline for everything. Either when I bought it, when I read it, something was happening. And I feel like it's a pretty good timeline for me to look at a manga and then remember where I was in that time and space, head time, everything else. You know, it's almost like Doctor Who reference. It's almost like I was the Doctor, and every series made me into another one. So, I mean, you guys have heard of my top 100. You know, there's probably over 600, so it's almost like the Doctor's been reincarnated 600 times, so to speak, you know, and everything has been good, you know, or I've been able to learn from that as well. So, another person that's newer that I found is Frosted Phoenix. I've been subscribed to them for a little while, but, you know, due to either not putting out a lot of content or just not being subscribed to them long enough to really get to know them better. You know, it just kind of happens. Then we get to somebody else in my gang, which is Lindsay Tut. Lindsay Tut is totally in my gang. Me and Lindsay connected, and then it was really funny because it was almost like we were a triangle with me, her, and Bizarre. You know, and whenever we don't even like really talk about manga, which is the funny thing. We talk about all the knickknacks that she gets and the boxes, and the big thing is like we talk about Funko Pops. And, you know, so it's really funny how we've connected. That was one thing that I would say that I kind of got from mine and Lindsay's relationship, is that your relationship might have started as a manga tuber relationship and whatnot, but it doesn't have to continue as one of those. I mean, me and Lindsay talk more about Pops than we do manga in general, which is really funny. So, you know, I think it's just funny how that happened and it turned out that way. So, I mean, if there's a new one that I think that she likes, I send it to her, and she's like, oh, thanks, you know. all this other stuff. Sometimes if she sees one that she thinks I like, or just like updating me on the news, I mean, it happens. So then we have ThatMangaKid. ThatMangaKid is somebody I've watched for a while. Really cool. So if you haven't seen them, I mean, I recommend all these people. Then we have Lunadrops. Lunadrops is another newer person that I didn't know about for a while. So then Jurassic Kim. Again, another new person that I don't know very much about. Then another group of people that are in my crew, and they've actually joined my crew recently. They are super spectacular, and I feel like they were kind of a quote-unquote, because if you're not religious, then, you know, I don't want to force it on you, but I do think that there is a higher power. So just to get that out of the way, or if you just want to think about it as nature, however it is, you know, I feel like that higher power or nature, you know, put them in my direction in life, which is Neon+Nova. They are super spectacular. I enjoy watching their stuff. I enjoy talking to both of them, and they are so good at getting back to you and commenting and everything else. I really feel like it's really good because we still connect from all the old manga, but then we have all this new stuff because they're getting back into manga and stuff we can talk about, recommendations that we can talk about, you know. But it's not only that, because it's not just recommendation, you know. To me, I don't just recommend, I actually go down a list of like, hey, what are you interested in, what's all this other stuff. And I feel like some that comes out with Neon+Nova, mostly Nova, Dustin, you know, I mean, I'm sure Megan's involved in there somewhere too, but me and Dustin have talked more, I know, and we'll actually go in and explain, you know, what it's about, all that other stuff. So, and I think it's really cool that they read so much, and it's just, you know, there's stuff that you can recommend to one, and it's almost like maybe one of them doesn't want it, but the other one does. So, I mean, it's kind of here and there, and then a lot of stuff they read together, so that's really cool too. Then we have my next person, which is SiMe, or SiMe, SiMe. Used to comment on my stuff all the time, like way back in the day. So it's really good seeing his channel grow. You know, I've been subbed to him the whole time, since we became friends way back when. And you know, I know there's a lot of stuff that he has told me of how certain people don't need certain things or whatever. And you know, we do have differing viewpoints, but you know, I feel like everybody deserves something. You know, you might not have deserved it from birth, but I mean, almost all of us here that have been in the game for long enough, we all, I think, deserve something because of all the time and work we put into it. You know, it would kind of be like working on a farm and it being harvest season, and then the farmer that you work for not giving you any of the food that you basically worked for. You know, I feel like that's kind of the situation that it kind of is. And then we have ThatShojoGeek. ThatShojoGeek is one of my friends too. Totally love talking about certain shoujo titles with them. You know, and they somewhat keep me up to date on some stuff, so that's really good. Another new person for me, Dopey Penguin. Shout out to her, great person. Then we have another person that's in my crew, Allonsyyy. As you guys know, I'm sure everybody knows him by now. Allonsyyy is one of the other newer people that joined my crew, just by like having one of those great spirits. You know, Allonsyyy is one of those people that I feel like you could, you know, insult him and Allonsyyy would still be friends with you, you know, just because he is kind of like open-minded in that sense, and he I think also like understands like, hey, everybody kind of has those times and whatnot. So it is really cool to be friends with Allonsyyy and have another person that's kind of people are gravitating to, and also helping people, you know, dissipate, or not dissipate, but gravitate, you know, out more to the community. So yeah. Then we have my senpai, who is next. The person that got me into YouTube and everything, Dani Dee. She's been kind of like my semi-mentor. You know, she knew my collection, like, basically from when we first started talking and everything, and has been a big role in my life since then. You know, she is kind of one of those people that I feel like I can make whatever content I want, and everybody else can kind of get mad at me or whatever, but it doesn't really mean anything. But when Dani does it, it's kind of like, oh my god, you know, my heart, it hurts. You know, just because Dani is one of those big people that means a lot to me, especially on their approval with things and everything else. So then we have Anime&Manga HUB, another great person that I watch. You should go watch them. They are really good. Then we have Manga Fairy, another person. We were friends for a good amount of time, and then they gravitated into my inner circle and whatnot, kind of, you know, just because of things that happened with them. And by chance, you know, like I said, life gave us one of those opportunities to talk and become closer friends and whatnot. And I mean, she is just awesome, you know, and there is a lot of stuff you can learn from everybody. So I mean, that's what I really love, and I do feel like I have gotten a pretty good chunk from Manga Fairy on certain things that she's talked about with certain reviews, different stuff like that. So next person is actually more of a booktuber, but like I said, guys, I like people that branch out. So this one is AG Macdonald. If you haven't subscribed to AG, you definitely need to. I feel like AG is everywhere in the community. He's kind of stopped a little bit recently, because I know he used to come in on all my stuff, but that's probably because he just kind of has a busy schedule. But yeah, and he's got one of those little, you know, like figures that actually talks on his channel, which I think is just badass. Then we have another person that's one of my friends, which is ShuRikken. ShuRikken is, again, one of those phenomenal people that I would totally say, hey, you should look at them for kind of like, I guess, improving your channel and whatnot, because they do already know all of that. ShuRikken and a couple other people that are actually in our community actually went to school for some of that stuff, and so I think it's really good to ask them about part of it, especially with that, and being able to talk about manga at the same time. You know, it's kind of a win-win. Next is Rakiyang, which is also one of my friends. Mostly, I've talked to her on Twitter, and she does like makeup tutorials and all this other stuff, but Rakiyang is awesome too. She just does like a lot of stuff. You know, I can't really lie about it or anything. She wholeheartedly does a lot of stuff, and it's pretty crazy when it comes down to it like that. Then we have my other boy in my inner circle, which is Lohali. You guys know who that is. You know, especially if you know me, you should know who he is, because obviously every Wednesday just about I do a live stream podcast with him. So Lohali is one of my other boys. We became friends really fast, and I feel like we're already there with our friendship being like other stuff that happens, it's kind of like one of those friendships that you know, you can kind of walk away from and not talk to each other about certain things or whatever for a while, and then you come back and it's just like, you know, sitting down and having a beer or something like that with a friend and being able just to talk about it, which, you know, is awesome. Then we have another person that I would consider my inner circle, another kind of booktuber person. So I think we've had 3 so far, including this one, and that is Shaegeeksout. Shae is one of those people that I feel that almost everything she does, she can teach you in some way on what to do, and basically, like, don't stop. When you get started, it doesn't really matter what it is that you have, or you know, what it looks like, other stuff, as long as you feel comfortable about it, you did your job, you did the good thing, even if everybody else hates it. As long as you liked it, it doesn't matter. But Shae is also one of those people, because of, like, her channel name, Shaegeeksout, which comes from Shae and everything that she does geek-wise. You know, it's not just manga, it's not just books or whatever, it caters to Shae herself. And that's kind of what I learned from Shae, is that even though your channel is you, that if your channel is about, like, all of us obviously are mostly manga, that doesn't really matter. It's your channel, you can do whatever you want with it, basically. If you know your friends will watch you or whatever, and you want to light a manga on fire and sit there and watch it burn, or you know, do like some of the other stuff with it, and that's you, you know, and people may like it, people may not like it, but, you know, it's still your channel to do with what you want. So that's kind of the really big stuff that I got from Shae, which was a while back. Then we have another new person, Hikari Otaku Station. Another person that's pretty good, that I feel like comes pretty well recommended, just like everybody else. And last, not ever least though, is TheGeekStone. I will tell you, TheGeekStone is also one of those people, may not be exactly in my inner circle, but is pretty close, just like some of the other people, because, I mean, we talk about all the different stuff, and he's got an awesome channel that talks about a lot of different things, a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people should probably talk about when it comes down to like certain titles and all that other stuff. I always like watching his content too, so hopefully you guys all like these and you will check it out later. Thanks for watching. I am going to do a couple more of these videos that I need to get done, and then hopefully we'll be able to read some. So anyway guys, thanks for being here. I will catch you guys later. Bye.